Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So the last update about unfortunate love was how Lakshmi became brave after stopping the engagement, and this shocked Malishka. Then a marriage proposal comes for Ahana, and Lakshmi promised Ahana that she would help her and she will be a sister to her. So let's continue from there. The doctor is taking blood sample of Grandma while Grandma bite Virendra's hand. Karishma says sweet have come. Grandma asks Dr. Shiv to tell them to give her sweet. Dr. Shiv asks them to give Grandma 2 pieces of sweet. Rishi comes there and tells them about Neelam. Dr. Shiv says yes, I came to know about what happened to Neelam. I was not at the hospital then. He says he would come to do test for Neelam and see if she is fine. Virendra says that it is good to see his employee's son prospering. He tells Grandma that she did wrong to bite him. Grandma says she has given him pain as she was in pain. Malishka is about to set Rishi's collar. Lakshmi stops her and sets Rishi's collar and says it is not your work. Malishka says I thought you are in the kitchen. Lakshmi says and you must have thought that you can take the advantage. She says I can fulfill all of my responsibilities. Karishma reminds Lakshmi about her responsibility. Lakshmi says I remember and I have watched many videos. Neelam says she cannot bear Lakshmi's attitude. Sudha brings Mr. and Mrs. Gujra and their son Gautam to the Oberai's house for Ahana's alliance. She says Gautam had gotten a Businessman of the Year award. She introduced the family to the Gujras. Malishka introduces herself as Rishi's fiancée and is to be wife. Lakshmi comes there and introduces herself as Lakshmi. She says I will bring Ahana. She asks Mukesh to keep something in the kitchen. She thinks that she would have given answer to Malishka, but she was silent due to the guest. She thinks that Rishi was silent and he did not say anything, and I don't expect this from him. Lakshmi comes to Ahana's room. Ahana says she is very nervous. Lakshmi says whoever gets Ahana will be lucky. She says let's go and make tea and breakfast. Lakshmi gives the teacups to Ahana. Ahana serves it to everyone. Sudha says Gautam is seeing Ahana for the first time. Sonia introduced them. Gautam says hello. He sips the tea and says nice tea. Ahana says it was made by Lakshmi's sister-in-law. Mrs. Gujra asks Lakshmi that who is your husband? Rishi says I am Lakshmi's husband. Mrs. Gujra asks that how is that possible because Malishka introduced herself as Rishi's fiancée earlier. Lakshmi says Malishka is just Rishi's friend who wants to be my husband's wife. Malishka says yes because Rishi and Lakshmi are getting divorced and it is filed in court. Mr. and Mrs. Gujra says they are not kids anymore and they should know what they want. Malishka says yes. Grandma says they cannot talk because they are watching them. She asks Ahana to take Gautam to the room and talk. Neelam says there is no pressure on you both and Gautam and Ahana goes to the room. Lakshmi comes to the kitchen and finds the bags of her ingredients missing. She calls Mukesh and asks that where is the bags. Mukesh says it is not there. Malishka comes there and asks Mukesh to give water to Karishma. She asks Lakshmi if she can help her. Lakshmi asks, did you steal the bags? Malishka recalls stealing the bags and running out of the kitchen. Lakshmi asks her. Malishka says she will not do anything to insult the family. She says, I really like Ahana and I will not do such a thing. She says maybe you have kept the bag somewhere else to insult everyone and says you have said that you can handle responsibility, so handle it now. Gautam and Ahana are in the room. Gautam looks out of the window and says nice view. He asks Ahana to say something, else it will look odd. He says it is a soothing and a calm view. Ahana says the view is good. Gautam says maybe you don't want to say much. Ahana says she is a good listener. Gautam says he was 9 months when his mom and his dad shifted to London. He says our house is mini India and you will find our relatives there. Ahana says to Gautam that you did not stay in India. That is why you don't have that accent. Gautam says my heart wants to stop on you and he asks if Ahana doesn't want to ask him anything. Ahana says she wants to hear him talk. Gautam says his favorite color is red, white, blue, etc. and says very soon it will change. He says I don't have much to ask you, but I have something to tell you. Ahana asks what is it? Gautam says I was married before and she died in an accident after a few days of marriage. He says I wanted to tell you this before anything gets fixed. He says I don't know if my mom and dad told you this, but I wanted to say this because I don't like secrets. Malishka is angry at Lakshmi. Karishma asks her to come and sit with them. She says Gautam likes Ahana very much and she hopes that their alliance gets fixed. She asks if Malishka is hearing what she said. Malishka says yes. She says we should take Neelam to the kitchen. Gautam asks Ahana if his mark got less because he has been married before. Ahana says no. In fact, I like your honesty. Ahana says to Gautam that even I want to tell you something and says I am a good listener. Gautam did not let her talk and he says we met 5 minutes ago and you did not take my name. He says I felt the sound from myself that I like you and he asks her to take her time and she can directly say that she doesn't like him. Ahana says Gautam don't try more because I think I like you and Gautam get happy to hear that. They come back to the family. Gautam's parents ask him that what is the answer. Neelam asks Ahana to talk. Rishi says let them sit first. They sit. Ayush asks them to talk. Virendra asks did you decide? Neelam asks them to talk else they might think wrong. Rishi says I don't know when people say yes or no. Gautam says we have yes. Ahana says yes and everyone is happy. Ayush asks Ahana to congratulate him. Grandma says she would have many sweets. Ayush says we can stay in Gautam's London house. Gautam says sure. Ahana says he likes it. Neelam asks Karishma to make them have sweet. Karishma makes everyone have sweet and then Neelam. She asks her to come to the kitchen because she is afraid that Lakshmi might get them insulted. Karishma asks Neelam to come to the kitchen and says Lakshmi can make us get insulted. Virendra says even I will come. Neelam comes to the kitchen with Rishi and Virendra and she asks if Malishka said the right thing. Lakshmi says it is true. The bag went missing. Neelam says we asked you if you can undo the continental dish and you said yes. She says Virendra also asks if you can do this or not. She asks if Lakshmi is doing this to take revenge on them and she gets worried. Neelam gets her foot sprained and she blames Lakshmi for getting them insulted again. Lakshmi says hi. Neelam says I don't want to see your face. Take me to the room. Rishi and Virendra takes Neelam to the room. Malishka tells Lakshmi that she has fallen down to this level for hurting auntie again. She says I will settle the scores for everything, if others do it or not. She says she is going to attend to the guest and she goes. Neelam asks Rishi and Virendra to go out and says the guest must be waiting. Dr. Shiv comes there and says congratulations, Ahana's marriage is fixed. He checks Neelam's foot and bandages it. He asks her to stay in the room, else she would get plaster. Neelam says she ate plaster and Rishi asks her to be in the room. Neelam asks Rishi to be with Gautam's family after Shiv leaves. She asks Virendra not to show affection towards Lakshmi. Virendra says I did not show affection towards her. Neelam asks Virendra to behave like her. She asks him not to tell anyone about her fallout as she doesn't want them to have any negative thought. Virendra asks Neelam not to feel bad. Neelam says she is feeling helpless. Virendra asks her to relax and says we would undo everything. Lakshmi makes chole bhature, rajman and other local dishes. Ahana comes there. Lakshmi asks if Gautam is the reason for her smile. Ahana says I like his honesty and his straightforwardness. Lakshmi asks Ahana. Ayush comes there and says Lakshmi is going to break this relationship. Lakshmi says I am going to do everything to make things right. Ayush says I would order food from outside. Lakshmi says they don't eat outside food. Ayush says they don't like Indian food too. Malishka hears them and thinks to lower Lakshmi in front of everyone because she stopped her from setting Rishi's collar. Malishka says to herself that when the Gujra family don't get the food that they want, then I will take out the continental food that I have ordered and everyone will praise me. She comes inside the kitchen and asks Lakshmi if she wants to spoil Ahana's day. She says Shankar might be making food and he is bringing it. She asks Ayush not to say anything outside. Ayush thanks Malishka. Malishka says to Lakshmi that Shankar is coming. This is my house and my responsibility. Lakshmi says this is a good idea. We should serve both Indian and continental food to them when Shankar brings your own food. She asks Malishka to ask Shankar to come to the kitchen. Malishka thinks that Lakshmi will be insulted. Ahana and Ayush like Lakshmi's idea and they bring Indian food outside. Sudha says the Gujra family don't eat local food. Rishi says we should wait for Malishka's food to come because it is a continental food. Gautam says mommy and father don't have oily food. Karishma scolded Lakshmi in front of everyone for making Indian food for them. Malishka gets happy and she gets Shankar's call and she asks him to keep the food in the kitchen. Virendra scolded Lakshmi for getting them insulted in front of everyone intentionally. Gautam tastes the sweet and asks that what is the name. Lakshmi says Doda Barfi, and it is a Punjabi sweet. Gautam likes the sweet and tells his dad that he will miss it. He asks his parents to taste it too. His dad says that they should have the Indian food for Ahana and Gautam's sake. Mrs. Gujra says what if they get acidity? Lakshmi says you should have buttermilk after it, and then they agree to eat the food. The Gujra family eats the chole bhature and says that it is reminding them of Punjab. Mrs. Gujra says that she wants to have Rajman also. Ahana serves her. Mr. Gujra asks Ahana to learn cooking from Lakshmi. Ahana says she would learn. Gautam says he would also have it. Malishka brings her continental food and she gets sad seeing them eating Indian food. Grandma tells Malishka that they are eating Indian food happily, and she says in East and West, Indian food is the best, especially if it is made by Lakshmi's hand. Mrs. Gujra says that they like the food and they should do the engagement after 2 days. Ayush get happy. Gautam says we will do the engagement with this Indian food. Rishi looks at Lakshmi. Malishka comes to the kitchen and she recalls grandma's words that any food that is prepared by Lakshmi is always good. She says, I'm throwing this food away, so have that cheap Indian food. She says, I called mom. I made her make this continental food, and I called the driver to come fast, but all was in vain. Malishka angrily says to herself that I had hidden the continental ingredient bag so that Lakshmi will fail, and that was risky, but her plan still failed. She says this Gujras wants to have chole bhature. Then why did they pretend that they don't eat local food? Kiran calls Malishka and asks if they asked for the recipe. Malishka says yes, they asked. Kiran says, what did you reply? You don't know C of continental. Malishka says to Kiran that Lakshmi replied them because they ate her food. She says that the Gujras are fake NRIS because they have food made by Lakshmi and they were praising her a lot, and she angrily ends the call. Malishka throws the food away. Lakshmi comes there and says you have thrown food away. It is insult to food. Malishka asks Lakshmi not to lecture her. Lakshmi says it is a basic sense. Many people work hard to have food, but they don't get it, and here you are throwing food away. Lakshmi asks Malishka to value things. She asks her to move from there, and she takes out the food from the sink. She says she will feed the dogs and the birds. She says she will not insult food in her house. Malishka says, your house? Lakshmi says, yes, my house and my husband. She says if you had kept the food outside, then they might have liked it. Malishka says we have no comparison, and she lowers Lakshmi with her words. She asks if Lakshmi will spit poison. Lakshmi says you are already spitting poison, and she asks Malishka to control her anger, but Malishka gets more angry. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like the video and check the comment section for the link to the next update once it is available. I will see you all again in my next video. Bye guys.